Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. My name is Shelly Harrison, and I'm your host for Luminary Leaders Live. And today I have one of our clients that I am just so impressed with and the work that he's doing. You're going to hear about him, and he's got some things that are happening that we're very excited to talk about that he's launching next Wednesday, a day before Thanksgiving. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Fred Moss, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. He is a holistic physician, restorative coach, podcaster, psychiatrist, and expert witness at Welcome to Humanity with Dr. Fred Moss. He is a transformational psychiatrist serving in many capacities, keynote speaker, psychiatry expert, witness, podcaster, like I mentioned, mental health coach, and filmmaker. A desire to help people has been the force leading him to various settings and roles as a psychiatrist over the years and compelling him to continually look for better, more effective ways to provide the highest quality care. He is the amazing person behind Welcome to Humanity, the True Voice course, Heal the Healer, and Global Madness. So Dr. Fred, welcome to Luminary Leaders Live.
It's really great to be here and great to see you again, Shelly. Wonderful to be online with you. And I really look forward to our conversation.
Me too. And I want to remind our audience that we are streaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So feel free to shoot out your questions and, let's have some great conversation. And Dr. Fred, let's start with, a little bit about what you would like the audience to know about what you have coming up, something very special.
I've been working all morning to really get a handle on everything I have coming up. But the thing that's most pressing and the thing that's most exciting is the final launch, or the beginning, really. Finally we get to launch. Let's put it that way. A course that's been in the oven for about a year, actually. I started looking at this course in October of 2021 when I spoke to my course creator about what was going on, which was I was teaching people how to podcast. And what we really were doing is helping people find their true, authentic message, their genuine core voice, their truest voice, if you will. And so I invented and really founded and then created the True Voice Podcasting course. I taught it online. I taught it to people live for a little while on Zoom. Yeah. And now it's been transformed to a course that is a combination of live, of evergreen, a mastermind, and I'm so excited to launch it this next Wednesday.
I'm really excited too, because I had the opportunity to hear you speak, and this is going back a few months, but it really showed me the caliber of what you talk about and the things that you help people with. And, let's talk a little bit about, because you are a psychiatrist, and this is something where you have kind of shifted from a traditional psychiatrist. Can we talk a little bit about that and how that kind of plays into the true voice, finding your true authentic voice?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things that I really have become aware of is ever since I arrived on the planet, basically, I have been earmarked to be somebody who was there to source other people's communication, other people's creativity, and other people's connection. I was born into a family that I am told had a fair amount of chaos and disarray. I had two older brothers, 10 and 14 years old when I was born, along with my parents, and there was a fair amount of discord. And my job when I arrived was to bring sort of peace and happiness to that family. So I hit the time clock as I came out of that delivery room, and I had now was it's kind of an entertainer, a communicator specialist, someone who helped people learn how to love each other and be with each other. And that's really what I've been doing ever since. Now we
Yeah.
fast forward a little bit. The conventional educational system kind of failed me, and as it fails many people, in that it really doesn't teach us how to communicate. It teaches us how to regurgitate that which the professor or teacher says. And if we do a really good job at imitating very accurately that which they say, then we get to go on to the next grade. And we all know that's how education is, but that's not really what discord, it's not really what discourse or conversation or communication is really about.
Yeah.
We moved forward, and I went to college really hoping that I would learn how to communicate. That didn't actually work at college either. And so I dropped out a couple times. I actually dropped out a couple times. And when I came back out the second time, my mom told me that I'd have to get a job, because moms will be that way, right?
Yeah.
So I got a job as a child care worker and in Northwest Detroit. And for the first time ever, I actually was communicating and helping people heal through these connections. I wasn't expecting that, actually. I was not expecting that the job as a child care worker in a state mental health facility would be so rewarding. The thing that I really had just tremendous distaste for, however, was psychiatry. Or not. Psychiatry was not really a communication field at the time. And, we would call the psychiatrist when we were having trouble with someone, and they would just come down, talk to the child for maybe 5 seconds, actually, talk to us for just a few seconds. And then they would write an order, and then we'd have to hold the child dumb and jam them full of adult grade antipsychotic, anti-anxiety medication injections.
Yeah.
I was so disturbed by this, Shelley, that I thought, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to learn how to be a psychiatrist who doesn't do that. My brother, 14 years older than me, was already a psychiatrist, so he had led the way, and I knew that it could happen. So back to school I went, and 13 years later, voila, is born Dr. Fred, the psychiatrist. But in the meantime, Prozac was introduced to the world, and Prozac totally altered psychiatry from the ground up. Prozac gave psychiatry the name of biological psychiatry, or chemical imbalances became the way that we looked at this, when things weren't going well, when we weren't like whenever. And
it was a quick fix for people too. I think so many Americans and really probably across the world were on that medication.
Well, it was the number one most prescribed medicine in the world, all specialties included.
Wow.
And it was that for 12 straight years, Shelley. Most people don't remember 12 years. It was the number one drug. And I became an expert in that drug and Eli Lilly. And I even became sort of a speaker for Eli Lilly and the maker of that drug. And I knew at the time there was something that was off. I didn't like prescribing, obviously. But everyone wanted it, and I knew how to do it, and I was special at it and all that. And I was like, prescribing. In the next 20 or 30 years, I probably prescribed over 100,000 prescriptions. Now, as I made clear, I went into the field so that I wouldn't have to medicate. So each day that I prescribed, which was every day pretty much, there was a little bit of my heart that would, a heartache or a soul sacrifice. Now, if we move forward from there, in 2006, I started doing something different. I took people off of medicine. And by taking people off of medicine, what I learned is they got way better quickly.
Yeah.
Now, this wasn't all people. These were only, the lower risk folks. But I started to expand it. And sure enough, reliably, people got better when I took them off their medicine. So I was onto something here, but I wanted to scream it from the mountaintops, but that wasn't right to do that, Yeah. I just wanted, there was an industry here that needed to hold up its very own, and the people really thought the industry was really helping. And for those of us who are listening to this message, for which your diagnosis and your medicine is actually working for you, more power to you. Please continue to take your medicine. Please continue to accept and comply with your diagnosis. If it's working, it's given you a life that actually is as optimized as you could ever hope for. You have found something so amazing in your life, and you should keep doing it. So please understand that I'm not disregarding those people who have done very well with the treatments.
Right. When you're saying the low risk people, so those are the people that maybe have been on it just for, a short period of time and, had an opportunity to move forward without taking medication.
Exactly. Or people who were only on one medicine, or had an event happen to them and now that has cleared up, or something like that. Exactly. And now it's really, it's extendable. There are a lot of people who now don't feel that their medicines are helping them, or they don't feel their diagnosis is helping them. They don't feel that the mental health system is helping them.
Yeah.
I began to be sort of the guy who, people knew that I wouldn't want to medicate primarily. And I eventually picked up the name, the undoctor. So as the undoctor, I unmedicate, I undiagnose, and then I undoctrinate people, meaning that people don't have to come back to the doctor once they're feeling well again.
Well, and like you said, it's being heard. It's all about being heard, being able to communicate, and be an advocate for your own health.
I couldn't say it better. Exactly. Yeah. What people want more than anything is to be heard, in the greatest sense, is to be heard, not just listened to, but actually heard for who they are. So that's how Welcome to Humanity came. And eventually that's how the whole idea of True Voice came to be. The idea is that I now, having retired, or I could say I'm recovering from being a psychiatrist, I now have found my true voice. This is a person who's speaking to the essence of mental health, which in fact is in the world of listening and being heard. Yeah. Human connection.
That's right. That's right. And I don't see this as an alternative. I look at it as though this is groundbreaking, information that you've discovered that can help people so that they don't have to have the side effects of all this medication.
That's right. And not only not the side effects of medicine, they don't have to have, they call it stigma of a diagnosis. They don't have to visit their doctor once a month. They don't have to walk around thinking that they're sick.
Yeah.
If you're uncomfortable, if you're uncomfortable in a world like ours is, that's good. You should be uncomfortable. There's some really uncomfortable things going on.
There really are. And I think if we just, go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off.
No. If you're thinking that you should be comfortable in this world, and that is indeed the emphasis, that somehow we should all be comfortable dealing with the world as it is, that's not true. There's many things that are threatening the world right this very moment.
And many that we don't know about.
and that's only the ones we do now.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got the virus issue. We've got climate control. We've got, climate change. We've got possible economic collapse right around the corner. We've got racism and sex trafficking and wars in Ukraine. And we got Supreme Court issues, and we got election issues, and we've got all sorts of issues.
Yeah, it's a lot of chaos to have to deal with if you're an American in this country.
It's not simple. And to be comfortable in that area should not be what the desired outcome is. In fact, what should be the desired outcome? The greatest threat in the world, Shelley, isn't those things I just named. The greatest threat in the world is that we collectively are giving up our capacity to speak our true voice. Why do I say that?
That's
Why
interesting.
is that even more important than those other things? Now, those other things, single-handedly, each one of them could take out the entire planet. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Right.
But why is the voice even more important? Because in order to take on any one of those things or all of those things, isn't it clear that we're going to have to communicate with each other?
And that's exactly what I was going to say. We need to come back to communicating, sharing, connecting the dots for people so that there's understanding, and discuss, and have, I don't want to say debates, but discuss issues that are important that could, maybe there's an alternative way to do something.
Exactly. And you know what? You don't have to be afraid of the word debate. Debate isn't a war. Debate is just sharing differing opinions on a particular topic.
It is.
And there should be differing opinions on different topics.
There should be. We can't agree on everything, right?
We're not supposed to agree on everything.
Yeah.
But we've really reached a point where the divisiveness or the polarity that's been induced to us through the way our existence and the media and social media as well is so loud. I don't know if you've had the experience, but I sure have, where
Yeah.
Someone hears someone or sees something that someone wrote that is different from what they think is true, and then they choose never to talk to that person ever again.
Yeah. Because they feel that there was intent, or they, somehow upset them. Or, I mean, look at, there are a lot of things that happen on Twitter and,
Oh, yeah.
Facebook. And
Oh,
when
yeah.
you read into things, it's probably better to use your true voice and maybe even send a direct message and say, hey, exactly what did you mean by that?
Yeah,
I think if more
exactly.
people did that rather than publicly say, what you're saying, I don't agree with,
Right.
and maybe rather reach out to them directly to have that conversation, because
Exactly.
because it could really spiral and turn into something absolutely too polarizing.
Yeah, it could. And in
Yeah,
fact, it has in many cases. So,
it has.
for
Yeah.
instance, telling someone that you don't agree with them is completely okay. Can you then listen to what they have to say without the goal of agreement? Just
Yeah.
listening for their own authentic self. Here's what I know.
Yeah.
If you were them and had the same experiences that they have had up until now,
Hmm.
then you would say exactly what they said.
That's so true.
It's
Yeah,
just true.
it's true.
And that if they were you and they had your
All the
experiences,
same
then they would be
experiences.
saying the same thing you said.
That's right.
It's part of
Yeah.
the beauty of humanity. So what's so
Yeah.
exciting about this True Voice course is we take some very time-tested methods, things that came out of both of my books. My Creative 8
Mhm.
book, Healing Through Creativity and Self-Expression, written in 2019. And then my other book, which surprisingly is called Find Your True Voice. If
Yeah.
you take that, the methodology as well as the time-tested practices that come out of those books and also have come out of the courses, that's what True Voice course is about. It's built to it's a 12-week course. It drips out 6 modules over 12 weeks, 18 lessons, 54 prompts, a 72-page workbook. And it also has an associated mastermind where I'm there every 2
Mm.
weeks for 90 minutes with a group of like-minded individuals who are
Yeah.
completely interested in speaking their true voice and in listening to other people's true voice.
Right.
So,
And this really applies to a lot of different people that want to really find their true voice. So it's not just people that are starting a podcast. It
right.
could be people that are in politics. It
Yes,
could be people that are managers, leaders,
exactly.
CEOs of companies. And
Exactly.
it's really, there's no limit, because I think a lot of us, we all speak. We all have opinions. We all
Exactly.
have the ability to speak our mind, but we just don't know how to use it sometime.
Exactly, Shelley. Well
Yeah.
said. We do use the template in the course of a
Yeah.
podcast because right now, I think that's the best, most effective way to get our message. What we're doing right now, what you just said about streaming to Facebook and streaming to YouTube and multiple different places where this particular dialogue is about to be viewed or being viewed as we speak,
Yeah.
is so extraordinary. It's such an extraordinary piece of technology. So we use this as a
It
template.
is.
And when you're done with the
Yeah.
course, you'll have everything you need indeed to launch a podcast. But you don't have to
Yeah.
be a podcaster, not at all. You can instead be someone who just wants to find a way to get that true voice out there so that your wife or your husband or your children or your colleagues, your neighbors, your employers, your friends, all of them are going to be very excited about a new access to your own authenticity.
I love that. I love that. And I know that we have it streaming on the bottom so
Yeah,
people can find the link to join, and it's right there. So
yeah,
truevoicecourse.com.
right.
And we definitely want people to know that, that it's going to be launching next Wednesday.
That's right.
And I'm excited. And so give us an idea, Dr. Fred. So if people are, coming into this course, what do you think they can expect as I know the outcome is they're going to find their true authentic voice, but truly, what are some of those things that they're going to walk away with feeling?
Yeah. Look, there's something that happens when we need to be compassionate with ourselves. Life wears us down, and even whatever we've been doing as a spouse, as a parent, as a employee, whatever you've been doing as a student, we have learned to not speak our true voice. And we have
Yeah.
learned to quiet down, even if we had something to say. We have
Mhm.
learned not to actually be outspoken. And what this teaches us is what this course aims at is other ways to express ourselves, even besides our voice. So art,
Yeah.
music, dancing, singing, drama, cooking, writing, gardening are a number of different ways to do so. And that gets touched
Yeah.
on. But we're also showing you a community of people who are actually committed to the advancement of humanity through honest to goodness, authentic communication via human connection, right? And
Yes.
that's what you're going
Yeah.
to get. And you get access to actually incrementally changing what you say. We don't have access to very many things in the world, but we definitely have access to what we say. And
We do.
we do.
We
We
definitely
can
do.
choose what to say. We don't have access to very much, but we definitely have access to what we choose to express. And so many of us have now chosen to either stay quiet or, even more shockingly, to say things that even they don't mean.
Yeah, that happens too.
That's just wild.
Most definitely.
Really, that
And
is
it throws
so
you off.
crazy.
Yeah, it throws you off, and it's like, gosh, you can instantly become defensive. But I think if you really take it for, they have a voice too, and you have to respect whatever's coming out of their mouth. Like you said, you may not agree with it, or you might want to debate them, but I think in the long run, the communication is key, because you want to come to some kind of a comfortable, end to that conversation, not having resentment or, ill feelings about the other person.
You say a beautiful thing here. So one of the things that I've been doing a lot of research on this, and one of the things I came up with is I've never heard of anybody being injured by simply listening.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? And I think maybe it's hurtful, but it's not hurting them physically. It's hurting their heart. It's hurting their whatever, their ego or whatever it might be that it's affecting.
Well, even that, Shelley, let's take another peek at that, because it's not overtly hurtful. In other words, if you say something that I then perceive as an insult, or a direct affront to me, then the person who made that an insult or a direct affront is me. I'm the one who decided that what you said doesn't work for me, and therefore you hurt me. Right? Like ultimately, I'm the one who gets to decide in other words, what you say and what you do is not any of my business ultimately.
Yeah.
What you say and what you do is not my business. What you say and what you think, it's not my business.
Yeah.
So what if I was just able to really work that muscle and learn how to listen to even adversarial, diametrically opposed ideas about things that I care about?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that allow for the creation of new outcomes that otherwise might have been unimaginable?
Oh, absolutely. And I love the way you say that, because you have to think about this, because if, the example that you gave, you're going to choose how you feel about it, and if I was to give you some information that you didn't, it was awkward or whatever, you could choose the outcome, and I probably would go along with it and say, you know what, you're right, I probably shouldn't have said that, or whatever, the response might be. But that's really interesting to think about, because communication, I know my son is a communication major, so, he's all about communication, and I just love it because he communicates very well.
That's great.
No, I love what you're doing, Dr. Fred. And I know the course, I'm going to sign up. I know that it's going to be amazing. And, as far as what do you want people to know about you, about, kind of just share with us.
Sure. So one of the things I want you to know is that we really want to know you. And without your voice, no one will ever even hear you. And without your true voice, definitely no one will ever know you. If you don't speak your true voice, no one will ever know you. Henry David Thoreau said, the mass of men live lives of quiet desperation and go to their graves with their songs still in them.
Gosh, it's
the greatest tragedy. It is.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to think about that. All the people that, that really didn't get to share their stories.
They really did not.
Yeah. I mean, I just recently lost my brother, and, he died of a sudden heart attack. And I mean, I'm sure he had stories that, he would have loved to have shared, but we didn't get to hear them.
It's really true.
Yeah.
This life is a gift and we don't know. I'm really sorry. And, as I said
Thank
before,
you.
condolences deeply for you and your family regarding
Thank you.
I never met your brother, but what a beautiful soul from what I could tell.
Yeah, he
God.
definitely was. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So, the
Thank you,
world
Dr.
lost a gem there. And
Yeah.
life can be taken. We often live to, you know what? I'll give my true voice next week. It's like, why are you so confident that next week is even coming?
Exactly. We don't even know,
Right.
Yeah.
So really
Yeah.
the time is right now. And
Yeah.
that time. And you know what? A lot of people, Shelley, with all honesty, as long as we're being accepting, compassionate, and forgiving of ourselves for having gotten where we were, what I'm really noticing is in these troubling times, in these challenging times, a lot of people are realizing that it's urgent that they get their true message out to the world. Like they want to tell friends what they really think about, maybe even the friends. Maybe you want to tell somebody that you love them, or maybe you want to tell your friend that you stole $20 from them 23 years ago.
Yeah.
And you just want to fix up your life and get covered, right? And using all the methods that we have in the course, including art, music, dancing, etc., we really teach some very fun, easy, effective, and efficient ways to find that true voice and then take those steps. Because the other thing I really want to tell everybody is, and this phrase is kind of overused, but it's really important, is, be yourself.
Yeah.
Like, trying to be someone that you're not in order to protect the person that you are is sheer lunacy, after all. It's totally ludicrous. It's totally absurd.
Exactly.
Preposterous. It's out of control.
Exactly. Yeah. And to give you an example, well, even starting this podcast or this broadcast, I should say, because it's on podcast and also live streaming.
Yeah.
I started it almost 3 years ago, and I had to find my true authentic voice. And I worked with different people. I worked with an improv coach because it was hard for me to really open up. And I think, I never use a script. So to my audience, I never use a script. I do a little bit of digging about who my guests are, but really I want to hear from them. Just like we're hearing from you today, Dr. Fred, where, I have to tell you that since we've been working together, I've been speaking my true authentic voice, not just on this show, but everywhere, every corner of my life. And it just feels so good. And especially, when you think about all the things that are going on all around us, it's important. It is definitely important.
I'm really honored that our conversations have led you in that direction, because as I told you, upon arriving in the earth, this has been my sole directive. Like, this has been what I'm here to do. And now here I am almost 65 years later, and it's just what I get to do for a living.
How exciting, how exciting. Yeah. And I love that you started welcome. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's not been a straight line. Go ahead with what you were saying.
I love that you've started Welcome to Humanity, back in 2006, because it has such a powerful meaning. When you think about, just humanity in general, not just in the US, but all over the world. And I think, this is a movement that you've started, and I'm excited because we get to represent you. And, this True Voice course, I'm just excited for people to sign up. I've worked with Dr. Fred, and I encourage everybody to really take a look at this course and be a part of it. And Dr. Fred, I want to thank you for being on the show too. I know that, we've had a couple of different shows that we've had you on, and it's always a pleasure. And yes. And one more time, how could people reach you?
So the one way to reach me that's really works is to go with my email. That's drfred@welcometohumanity.net. But you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm liking LinkedIn a lot these days, and
me too.
It's easier. It's not as vicious in some ways as like YouTube, as Instagram,
Facebook, and Instagram,
or Facebook.
Great platforms, but they're different.
No problem with the platforms, but there's something about LinkedIn that just feels a little bit more cushy. So you can find me on LinkedIn and DM me there or follow me. And you can also find me in Facebook if that's where you hang out. And I'm more than interested in talking more. Now, the truth is, you're also going to find me every other Tuesday once you sign up for this course in our mastermind. And that's where we do the exercises and practices and really help you dig into your own true voice and deliver it to the world that is really eager to receive it. So
exciting.
Yeah.
It's just so exciting. And, here it is a year later after you had it on the, like you said, in the stove, and it was definitely percolating, getting ready to be, featured and launched. And so next week on Wednesday, the 23rd, the day before Thanksgiving, is when the course starts. So we want to just congratulate you, Dr. Fred, and thank you again so much for being on Luminary Leaders Live. We were streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And please, put your comments in on any of those platforms, and we'll make sure to get them answered for you. We want to thank our audience for tuning in. And please subscribe to Luminary Leaders Live. You will see people just as exciting and as phenomenal as Dr. Fred Moss. So Dr. Fred, thank you so much for being on the show. And we look forward to seeing your launch with your True Voice course. And again, it's, right there on the screen so people can take a snapshot of that and go directly to the link and sign up.
That's right. And, just one more thing, if what you really want to take a look at is the what led to the True Voice course, my book does that. And, I'm giving that book to our listeners for free. All you have to pay is shipping and handling. So that's Find Your True Voice Book. Trying to findyourtruevoicebook.com is where you can get free access to that book. And I love writing that book. I like reading that book. It still makes me laugh, and it's really cool information. And I invite you to get that copy as well. So thanks a lot, Shelley. It's been beautiful.
Thank you. And we'll make sure that that's in the link too, the link for the book, so that people can get their copy. And like you said, they just pay shipping and handling.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Fred. And thank you to our audience. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Shelley. Bye.
Thank you.